All right, what's going on? You listen to King Cam Ujumbe podcast, and Ujumbe means message. And today's message is King Cam's summer school. Um, Once again, thank you guys for coming through and coming in, tuning in, like, commenting, and subscribing. Um, Much love for the fam out there in the diaspora. Thank you very much. Much love to Peachy Cam Events and Designs. Much love to Pan African Bookstore out there in Dallas. I really appreciate you guys for your love and support. I'm really glad that you guys are here. As you noticed, yes, this is not my usual classroom. I had to borrow it because this is summer school. So we're in different locations right now. And speaking of summer, much love and shout out to my history team, my history department. We got, from what I've been told, 93% passing the U.S. History STAR test. That is a state assessment. And, we beat the odds. We was short a teacher, all that good stuff. So I'm really happy for our team and for some of you guys, for those who don't know, I am a real life social studies teacher. I am a social studies department chair here. And so I'm over a group of great and knowledgeable individuals. So I'm really appreciative to them. And so without further ado, let's get down to the business. Let me try to get to my screen. So, but how you guys are doing? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And here we are. We are in summer school session 4. Yes, we did a recap. We did all that good stuff. We did a review. And I like to review information before moving on. And so I hope you guys check out the previous videos and all that good stuff. But this is summer school session 4. So let me find that button. So, okay. Summer school session 4. Let me. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. So, of course, the mini lessons, an introduction into African history. It is geared for everyone. It's designed to foster a life of learning. All right, it will be once a week to go over a few readings from Black authors. So that's what we are here to do. That's what we purpose to do, right? Now today, I told you guys we're going to go over chapters 5 through 9, but these next couple of chapters are pretty weighty. Okay, in the book of Stolen Legacy, that's what we're in. And so we will identify and discuss major concepts in the book entitled Stolen Legacy, more specifically, chapter 5. Okay? Now, we're going to touch on a brief recap. I hope you guys paid attention. And we're going to go into Stolen Legacy. That's our agenda, Stolen Legacy, chapter 5. We're going to focus on Greek philosophers and their ideals. And then we're going to get into what's next. Okay? But I know somebody's out there tripping. I know they're going to ask me, why focus on the Greek philosophers and so on? Well, it's because the reason why is that it's going to show you where they got their information from. They just didn't come out of nowhere with this. So why are we focused on that? It is because you will see that line of knowledge. You'll see that line of information. Very important, right? So that's the reason why we're dealing with the Greek philosophers in chapter 5. And plus the author, George G.M. James, dealt with the Greek philosophers. He didn't just skip over it, right? Then he will be blamed for or labeled as Afrocentrism and stuff like that. This new word that the Nzungus like to use when they're trying to say tell us that we are focused too much on, or we're fusing, or we're putting African information into another ethnic group or whatever. But, I digress. But that's the reason why. So chapter 5, the reason why we didn't touch on the rest of the chapters, because chapter 5 is pretty heavy. And you guys are going to see that in a second. All right, what's going on, everybody? I see, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And now, the Greek philosophers. Okay, chapter 5, men such as Pythagoras got their training from Kemet upon quote unquote graduation. As I said before, he returned to Samos, right? And the Ionians and Italians did not claim the authorship of the knowledge because they all knew that Kemet were the true authors. Now, here it is. In chapter 5, the Ionian schools consisted of Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes, or Anaximenes, or however you want to pronounce that. Those are the three major Ionian schools, okay? And we're going to touch on some of those ideas that they dealt with, right? I'm going to touch on that. Now, Thales Miletus was a philosopher that lived between 620 and 546 before Common Era. Okay, he was that person. Okay, he believed water is the source of all living things, which we already knew that. African people always said that life is in water and so on. So, but he's like, hey, I got an idea, water. Okay, that's the source of all living things, right? And all things are full of God. Heard that before also, right? You heard that that God is in everything. So the people of Africa and many other cultures personified God into other things, displaying that he is everywhere and in everything. Okay. Now, so water is the source of all living things, all things are full of God. That's what Thales is saying, but we know where he got it from. But these are some of their philosophers, right? All right, a little bit more. Anaximander of Miletus was a philosopher that lived between at around 610 before Common Era. Now, this dude was credited with the idea that the origin of all things is the infinite. Now, Jehuti mentioned the all, or even in Kemet, they mentioned the hidden one, the unmoved mover, the one, the invisible hand that touches and deals with everything. So, but they, I digress. They credited him with that idea, right? So now this involved into the notion of the concept of space. Okay, we call it space, the black matter, and so on. But Anaximander, Miletus touched on it. But once again, these philosophers went to school, to Kemet, came back with this information, but the Europeans would give them that credit, right? Now, so we have Thales, right? Anaximander, Miletus, and this dude, Pythagoras. Now, there's a lot I can say about them, but I'm not going to say that much on them because, it's kind of going, kind of just re-mowing the grass. It's just going over the same information. But he is a major figure in Greek philosophy. And he is credited with a lot of things that he should not have been credited for. However, we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna play this game, okay? But the question is, where did he get all this information from? And who did he learn from? He just didn't all of a sudden fall out the sky and say, hey, I know these things because I know these things. No. The symbol he has in his hand is the pyramid. They didn't make those. Okay, so Pythagoras, let's get in on it. Okay, and I had to throw a slug in it. Okay, of course, Imhotep, the Grandmaster Imhotep, developed the step pyramid eons, thousands of years before Pythagoras even know his name. So let's not play these games saying that, hey, these Greeks all of a sudden had all this knowledge and all this information. No, that's not the case. They got it from us. They got it from Kemet, the Grandmaster Imhotep. He is that guy. And we have to understand that this information came from, it was passed down. It wasn't just him. It wasn't just him. It was passed down. It was handed down from mouth to ear, from person to person, year to year. And then he inherited that information, but he compounded it. He built upon it, just like the step pyramid right here that you see. He added to it. So we can't say Pythagoras was that guy. No, Imhotep is that guy. Okay, but now let's continue. Now, Pythagoras, according to George G.M. James, Book of Stolen Legacy, asserted the concept of the salvation of the soul, which meant freedom. Your soul is free when it goes through this process, or when it is free from what? Okay, he asserted the concept of salvation of the soul, which meant freedom. Freedom from what? What do y'all think? Freedom from what? Y'all can comment, but we're gonna build on it in a second. The cycle of birth. See, I already knew that. Y'all know that. Y'all know this. The cycle of birth, that reincarnation concept, right? Cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The soul is free from this. That's what, but the thing is, once again, that's the reason why I have the ka and ba here. And if you're taking notes, please take notes. But freedom from what? The cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. That is the ultimate thing. That's the salvation of the soul, according to him. But it just didn't just land on his forehead and say, hey, I got an idea. He got this information from somewhere, right? So Pythagoras, they gave him the credit, quote unquote, developed on the other concepts, the union of opposites, the supreme good, the process of purification. Now, these people didn't just come up with this, the union of opposites. We're going to get in on that because I know a brother mentioned that in comments before about the opposites. Supreme good, what is that? Process of purification. We already know that some people had a struggle with bathing. So purification, no, bro. Yeah, I didn't know what to do with this thing called water. So that's what they say he developed, right? The unit of opposites, the supreme good, the process of purification. Now, and so he goes into the question of what is mankind? What is mankind? The lovers of wealth, lovers of honor, lovers of wisdom. That's Pythagoras and many philosophers categorize mankind into these three things: people that love money, people that love prestige and status, and lovers of wisdom, which was called the philosophers. What do you think? Which one are you, matter of fact? You can comment. You can tell me in the comments or whatever, on YouTube. Which one are you? Lovers of wealth? You like money? Lovers of honor? And be honest, because some people say, I love wisdom. But you chase status and money all the time. I don't know about that. But I don't know, right? So, but Pythagoras and his counterparts were credited with these things. Okay. And so, and as you can see, I have Tahuti right here, symbolizing wisdom. Okay. The writer. Okay. And writing. So, and Tahuti was around long before Pythagoras. And so we can't play like these people they just had it like that. No, they didn't. Right? All right, here we go. So recap really quick. What's the main idea of chapter 5 so far? Y'all can comment on that. Okay. Because chapter 5 of Stolen Legacy is pretty hefty. Okay, I'm trying to kind of, skip over a few things, but it's pretty hefty. But we're going to get further into the situation in a minute. Stay tuned. What were the Ionian schools? There was three. Do you remember? And this guy was credited with the idea that all things came from the infinite. Which one was that? Salvation of the soul was meant what? Freedom from what? Do you remember? All right. And what is mankind? What is mankind according to the Greek philosophers who learned from the Keriheb or the Egyptian priests, right? Who were they? All right, let's move on. Chapter 5. Now Dr. George G.M. James dealt with the Eleatic philosophers. Now it gets real serious. It gets real serious because it touches on some concepts and ideals that the Africans had eons before this. Okay, but who were they? Xenophanes, Parmenides, Zeno, and Melissus. I may be butchering these names, but it is what it is. You know, I in country is corn. But the Eleatic philosophers, Xenophanes, Parmenides, and Zeno, and Melissus. Okay? Now, who are these cats? Xenophanes was born in Colophon of Asia Minor, 370 BC before Common Era. So it's getting closer to the modern era. He, according to a lot of people say, he focused on the unity of God, monotheism. So he's saying all of a sudden, this was a new concept. So nobody heard of the other guys, you know, Akhenaten and many others, right? Temperance. Okay, so he focused on the unity of God and temperance. That's Xenophanes. And this is 370 BC before Common Era. And his homeboy, Parmenides, born in Ilia in 540 BC. He wrote poems concerning nature. Parmenides wrote poems concerning nature. He wrote about the physical doctrine, the doctrines of truth, doctrine of cosmology. Now, the physical doctrine that deals with the body, the person, or person's emotion and things like that. The doctrines of truth. What is truth? That's what he was saying. What is this truth? What is this thing that we hold dear and things of that nature? So he would get into that. He would ask those kind of questions. And the doctrine of truth consists of the knowledge of being, that being is. This is what it is. That's basically what he's saying. And then he goes into cosmology, dealing with the soul, or the thing that's composed of light or warmth. Now, that's him. Zeno, born in Ilia at 490 BC, he dealt with motion. Motion. You know, motion. A body, in order for it to move to one point to another, must move through infinite number of spaces. That is interesting. We just think, okay, I'm going from point A to point B. No, you're going through an infinite number of spaces. The body is in one place. If it's in one place, of course, we say it is at rest. That's Zeno. That's what he's saying. Okay? And so, and it deals with the plurality in space. But now let's get to the hefty stuff. Democritus. This cat here pushed basically the red button when it comes down to connecting Greece and Kemetic concept. Okay, as you can see, he has his face on it and the atom. The atom. Now, let's get in on this. I skipped a few pages just to get down to this cat right here. Okay, I challenge you guys to read chapter 5. Don't forget, read chapter 5, Stolen Legacy. This cat right here, it gets heavy. Okay, he's associated with the description of the atom. And every atom is equivalent to this. Two things: what is and what is not. Think about that. The atom, every atom in time and space is equivalent to two things: what is and what is not, are also known as the void. What do y'all think about that? Now, but we've heard that word before. We heard it being applied in other places, especially in our culture, right? Yeah, patah. Or the word patah, even the word sounds like a boom patah or an explosion. And on the primordial waters of noon. This cat just didn't come up with the atom all by himself. Patah on the primordial waters of noon developed the atom or atom. Yeah. That's where the rub is, y'all. That's where it is. This guy, he said, okay, I got this thing called an atom, and here it is, y'all. No, he got it from the concept called Memphite theology, which we're going to get into that a little bit today. His philosophy of the atom and the doctrine of the opposites sound very familiar. Where did he get it from? We already know. Kemet, right? Boom. I have a picture of the capstone of the pyramid. The capstone was symbolic of that first time of Zep Tepi, the first time when creation was created. By who? The creator, the hidden one, the great one, or the big king, or depends on what culture you're from, or that kind of thing. So these capstones on the pyramid that you will see are very symbolic of Ptah sitting on that mound. Okay? So Memphite theology, out of order comes chaos. Kemet had an opposite for everything. The king must have a queen. I say again, the king must have a queen. I say again, the king must have a queen. Take it for however you will, okay? But a god must have, with a goddess, and each element or chemical was personified. And so the thing is, they weren't just saying, I'm gonna bow down and worship this cow, or whatever. Each one of those things was symbolic of an atom or a element. For my science teacher, I know there's a few scientists in the room in the mix, and they can vouch for me on that. Me, like I said, I am just a history teacher, but they can really scientifically break this down. But the people of Kemet personified what they saw, and they put it into a person. Each chemical element was personified, and they had an opposite, right? So Nun and Nunet, primeval water and space. Hook and Haket, illimitable and the boundless. Gotta have both. Gotta have both. Ha and Hahet, darkness and obscurity. You get in the middle of the tree, you say He. That means millions. That's a long time, millions and millions of years. So each element was personified. Nun, Nunet, Hook, and Haket, and Ha and Haet. And lastly, Amun and Amunet, the hidden and the concealed. They had to have both. If you did not have both, you were out of balance, or ma'atu. But you know, my Egyptian, my Kemetic friends can break it down a little bit further than me. I'm just a history teacher, you know what I'm saying? So that's what that is. So, but each element was personified. So they had the opposites there already in place. But a bonus, we have Amun and Mut. Now, the reason why I say that, the reason why I didn't say Aten, or the reason why I didn't say Ra, Amun and his wife Mut, according to the history, is that they were from Nubia. They were Nubian. Let that sink in for those who just think that Egyptian information was north in the Delta and Cairo and whatnot, and it didn't happen in the South. His wife was Mut, or she was his counterpart, right? And she was from the South. She was from Nubia and Sudan. Do you understand? So later on, of course, Amun became Amun-Re and so on, that kind of thing. But the concept was he was the hidden one. He was the one that cannot be seen. Right? And he had a wife. And they had a son, but that's a different discussion another day. Right? So that is briefly chapter 5, y'all. But I had to touch on old boy who dealt with the atom. I had to do it because that's where you get that idea of the opposites and the unseen and yet seen, that kind of thing. All right. So a few more things. What's next? What's next? We're going to get into, let me fast forward real quick. What's next? Okay, y'all, you guys do have homework. Don't forget to read You guys do have homework, chapters 5 through 9. And the quizzes assignment is still open. It's still open on Quizlet.com. The code is 7250 0248. And we're going to touch on a new book, okay? We're going to touch on a new book, and that is Ethiopia. Let me find if I can have it. If I have it in my bag, I should keep so much stuff, y'all. It's by John Jackson. Okay, Ethiopia. Okay, Ethiopia, the origin of civilization. It is like a 25 to 27 page book, very short. Once we get done with Stolen Legacy, we'll get into that. So these are short reads, easy reads, real quick, and we'll go from there. So, but recap: what's the main idea of chapter 5? Y'all can like, comment, subscribe. That rhyme. What is the supreme good? What is supreme good, and what was the identity of the atom, the element, the atom? What was that? And this guy was credited with the idea all things came from the infinite. And what were the 4 pair of opposites? Had a king, gotta have a queen. Right? All right. Don't forget to check out that book, Ethiopia and the Origin of Civilization. And I really appreciate you guys. This is King Cam Ujumbe podcast. Ujumbe means message. And today's message is and was Stolen Legacy, chapter 5. We're going to get in a little bit of chapter 6 also, and we're going to move on. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Much love to the family and the diaspora. Oh, God. If I start naming countries, people are going to get mad. But I really appreciate all of you for coming through, for listening and chiming in and adding to the conversation. I know there's a lot of things going on in the Sahel and in Ethiopia, in Saudi Arabia, in Senegal. Much love to the fam out there, and even where I'm from. Okay, and so it's something. All right, so but we're in this together. Let's learn and grow together. All right. Once again, King Cam Ujumbe podcast. Ujumbe means message. Ujumbe. That is Swahili for message. All right. And you guys have a good one. Talk to you later. Peace.